Good afternoon, I'm Tyrone Reid.
And I'm Nika Lewis.
In nationwide news at this hour, contrary to a claim made by the Court Administration Division, the Press Association of Jamaica says it had no consultation with the CAD before the division published its media protocol document yesterday.
After the first draft, the team invited members of the press, senior members of the press and the PAJ to come in and to look at it and to vet it.
No, there was no consultation with the PAJ.
Licensed firearms belonging to 2 JDF soldiers implicated in a drug smuggling ring and gun attack on the police have been submitted for ballistics testing.
National Parenting Support Commission says fathers are lamenting that male bashing at the hands of women contributes to the absence of some fathers in the lives and education of their children.
With just 8 days to go until the PNP presidential election, both candidates are making the case as to why they are best suited for the party's top job.
Heavy rains at the weekend resulted in major backlogs at the Kingston Freeport Terminal in Kingston.
In news from the rest of the world, rescuers dug through heavy blocks of concrete with their bare hands today in a desperate search for survivors from a powerful earthquake that leveled buildings across Greece and Turkey, killing at least 19 people.
And in sport, it's all systems go for tomorrow's running of the 100th Jamaica Derby at Caymanas Park.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, fathers say male bashing at the hands of women contributes to the absence of some fathers in the lives and education of their children.
We don't want parenting education sections with women in the same spaces. We believe that they bash us too much when we're there. It becomes a belly-aching exercise and we don't get a space to really share.
We'll hear more from the CEO of the National Parenting Support Commission, Casey Carr, as the commission launches its Parenting Month today. The licensed firearms belonging to 2 Jamaica Defence Force JDF soldiers who've been implicated in a drug smuggling ring and gun attack on the police have been submitted for ballistics testing. It's understood that the soldiers are strongly denying opening fire on the police. The soldiers are 39-year-old Rowan Mendez of a Kingston 10 address and 38-year-old Robert Smith of Balaclava in St. Elizabeth. Both are remanded or were remanded in custody until November 23 when their bail application is to continue. Queen's Counsel Peter Champagny is one of the attorneys representing the soldiers.
I can confirm that they appeared in the parish court in Santa Cruz and the matter was heard. The matter is set for the 23rd of November. The bail application commenced today. It is to conclude on that date, pending certain available documents. And these are matters that are in camera, so I will not go into the detail of that. Suffice to say that we return on the 23rd.
Peter Champagny, QC. 1,500 pounds of compressed ganja were reportedly seized from the soldiers. The incident occurred in Gutters, St. Elizabeth, a few weeks ago. Rescuers dug through heavy blocks of concrete with their bare hands today in a desperate search for survivors from a powerful earthquake that leveled buildings across Greece and Turkey, killing at least 19 people. The quake caused a mini tsunami on the Aegean island of Samos and a sea surge that turned streets into rushing rivers in one town on Turkey's west coast. Much of the damage in Turkey occurred in and around the Aegean resort city of Izmir, which has 3 million residents and is filled with high-rise apartment blocks. It was unclear how many people were trapped in the rubble. Turkish officials confirmed 12 dead and more than 420 injured after the quake hit the coastal province of Izmir. In Greece, 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl, were killed on the island of Samos when a building collapsed on top of them. Search and rescue efforts were continuing in at least 12 buildings.
Heavy rains last weekend have resulted in a major backlogs at the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited in the capital city. The delays are reportedly worsened by a system outage at the port, causing angst among several stakeholders, including truckers. But President of the Shipping Association of Jamaica, Charles Johnston, says the KFTL has assured normality by next week. Nika Lewis reports.
The Shipping Association President, Charles Johnston, sought to explain the issue at the port.
The problem is that, one, the rain affected their systems, had a big problem there. When lightning is going, you can't discharge the ships easily. You have to wait if there's no lightning and take the men down for safety reasons. But the lightning will hit the very highest thing, and the very highest thing is the cranes. So the rain affected them. But also they had a system failure. The systems went down. No, correct. Well, you have the system tells you where the containers are for you to go and pick them up. So between those two things, you then have a backlog. And the problem is how quickly can you clear the backlog?
Mr. Johnston says the KFTLs advised the delays should be resolved by next week.
And the problem is how quickly can you clear the backlog? The terminal says that they are working as hard as they can to clear the backlog. The truckers say that they could be working faster. And that's where the dispute is coming about. Meaning that they could be working overtime and put more effort into it and clean up, move it on faster. As to how long, it should be resolved in a week coming up.
And this is a word from
KFTL.
Efforts to get a response from the Port Authority and KFTL have been unsuccessful. In April 2015, the government of Jamaica, through the PAJ and CMA-CGM, concluded a 30-year concession agreement in which CMA-CGM, through its subsidiary, Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, KFTL, would develop, maintain and operate the terminal. On July 1, 2016, the KFTL assumed control of the terminal. Meanwhile, General Manager of the Port Trailer Haulage Association, Ricardo Valentine, says drivers' turnaround time has gone from minutes to hours.
There's still a high degree of frustration. Certainly, the meeting certainly would have brought about some positive news in that we are now willing to extend the working hours, so more movements can be had. Currently, it's not ideal at all. There's an agreement for the terminal to open this weekend, this Saturday, to facilitate additional movement of containers in and out of the facility. And hopefully that can be sustained for the rest of the year, because the volumes are expected to go up considering it's Christmas.
He's recommending that random scanning of containers be considered in the short term to clear the backlog.
One of the processes that we recommend that they look at in terms of the level of scanning. Right now we do 100% scanning of the freight. We have suggested that maybe they could look at random scanning as happens in all other places, other jurisdictions, as well as they could do perhaps overnight scanning. Those things will help in terms of reduce the time that it takes to go on the port, pick up a container, drop off a container, and get off.
Nika Lewis for Nationwide News.
Contrary to a claim made by the Court Administration Division, CAD, the Press Association of Jamaica, PAJ, says it had no consultation with the CAD before the division published its media protocol document yesterday. The new protocols allow media personnel to tape record court proceedings, but only for the purpose of verifying their notes. These recordings are not to be broadcast. Efforts to get a comment from the CAD were unsuccessful. Wayne Walker reports.
According to the Court Administration Division's media protocol document, a copy of any broadcast covering court proceedings should be provided to the court's media liaison officer within 2 days of the broadcast upon request. And it says media personnel are expected to publish retractions promptly upon request from the presiding judge. Director of the Court Administrative Division, Tricia Cameron Anglin, says the Chief Justice had established a committee responsible for crafting the media protocol document.
After the first draft, the team invited members of the press, senior members of the press and the PAJ to come in and to look at it and to vet it, to indicate whether we were on the right path. The persons on the committee are experienced journalists, persons with media and communication certification, qualification, and practice as well. And we still remain committed to having you in operations. Tell us how it is working for you.
But President of the Press Association of Jamaica, PAJ, George Davis, says the consultation did not take place with his association.
No, there was no consultation with the PAJ. Since taking office in 2018, there was a meeting planned between senior journalists and the Chief Justice. Several news editors did not get to attend. I myself did not get to attend. We did not participate in any consultation at that point. Then there was a meeting scheduled for Monday of this week to discuss, I'm sure, matters concerning what is now the protocol. Because of the inclement weather, that Monday meeting was postponed until further notice. Tuesday evening, there was another notice that the Monday meeting is now Thursday 23rd, which was yesterday. Clearly, the short turnaround didn't accord with our individual schedules. It certainly didn't accord with mine, so we didn't go.
Mr. Davis says the PAJ discussed the document at its executive meeting this morning.
There are some concerns raised by individual members. We're having an emergency general meeting Sunday. So we've circulated the protocol to our members and to come to that meeting on Sunday, which starts at noon, with any concerns they may have already. There is one thing that we believe to be a glaring omission, and it concerns what is to happen where court matters heard via Zoom are concerned. There's no mention of that in the protocols. Overall, there are many problematic areas. There are some areas that we'd like a little bit of clarity on, perhaps the language. We are going to have a defined position coming out of Sunday's meeting.
Wayne Walker for Nationwide News.
Now on News Politics, with just over a week to go before the delegates of the 82-year People's National Party, PNP, vote to choose the political party's next president, both presidential candidates are making the case as to why they are best suited for the top job. Southeast St. Anne MP Lisa Hanna says she may not be perfect, but she's confident she has the ability to deal with adversity, which she says is necessary, especially at this time. Meanwhile, in making his pitch to the delegates, South St. Andrew MP Mark Golding says he's the man to unite the party. More in this report from Marjorie Gordon.
Lisa Hanna is going up against Mark Golding on November 7 to replace Dr. Peter Phillips as the next president of the People's National Party, PNP. That's just 8 days away. In an interview posted on her Facebook page, Ms. Hanna says she performs at her best when faced with adversity.
When Portia came and offered and said, look, I'd really love you to consider coming to Southeast St. Anne. At that time, I had just gone through the most devastating part of my life, which was dealing with the custody of my own child. I really wasn't even thinking of going to try and run a constituency. But my life has worked that way all the time. When things are in that moment of great deliberation and tribulation is when I perform best.
Ms. Hanna says her presidential bid has the support of a number of persons, including members of her family.
Richard has always been very supportive of what I want to do. He's a mathematician, I'm a people person. When I went to him, he was happy because I think he always heard people say to him or say to me, you know, you really should. He said, look, as long as it doesn't change who you are intrinsically. For Alex, it was a little different. For him, it was, I'm happy that you're doing it. I know you're the right person to do it, but are you sure this is really what you want to do? Because I've seen all the trials and all the tribulations you've gone through in the politics.
In the meantime, Mark Golding, while speaking at delegates' meeting at the Red Hills Primary School, says the PNP needs to move forward united.
Lead Lisa because, as far as I'm concerned, Lisa, I'm a friend. And we want the party have to unite when this is over. So them disrespect us cause feelings for carry forward. So we don't want that, comrades, right? And you know, comrades, contest. What a contest last year. As far as I'm concerned, that era, the Rise era, and the One PNP era is over. It ended on September 7th last year. It don't have no relevance again. We can't carry that forward, comrades. We have to carry forward the People's National Party.
The South St. Andrew MP says he has the support of many persons who were on the opposing side during the last PNP presidential election.
I don't want to start the idea of unity, you know, and say after the 7th of November we're going to unite and things. I'm practicing it already in my campaign, not only by what I say, but who I associate with and who has come on board with me. Because many of the people supporting me in this campaign were One PN people last year, and I was with Rise. Many of them, the campaign chairman, Anthony Hilton, the head of communications, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, Richard Azan.
Marjorie Gordon for Nationwide News.
Now, the National Parenting Support Commission, NPSC, says fathers are lamenting that male bashing at the hands of women contributes to the absence of some fathers in the lives and education of their children. The commission says fathers are advancing. They want to increase their participation by having sessions where the women are not present. Chief Executive Officer at the NPSC, Casey Carr, made the revelation while addressing the media launch of Parent Month this morning. The theme for Parent Parent Month this year is Fathers Rise, Lead and Be Wise. Steven Simmons reports.
Daddy, you're a winner. Your child is the prize. So fathers, rise, lead and be wise.
Rise up and be a man.
That's the message from the National Parenting Support Commission, NPSC, to fathers in support of its theme for Parent Month in November. CEO of the NPSC, Kesia Carr, sought to paint a picture of the difficulties single mothers face raising children without their fathers by detailing the experience of an epileptic child.
I carry two images in my mind. One of a child who every morning he would hurry to school, but every morning he would fall flat on his face. And he's hurrying because he has to get to school for the breakfast because he's a part of the PATH program. Mommy, a single parent, cannot afford breakfast. But every morning he would fall flat on his face because he's epileptic. But he's hurrying because the anti-seizure medication says that he must have food before he takes the medication. Because I've never seen a little boy with so many scars on his forehead.
Ms. Carr advanced that the lives of many children would be enriched by the presence of their fathers.
The other image I carry is from another child who presented with some disabilities. What we discovered was that every day after lunch, he would go in the garbage bins and he would forage through the garbage bins for food because his mom, a single parent again, could not afford food. I wonder, what if those fathers were present?
According to Ms. Carr, the NPSC has noticed that fathers rarely participate in the entity's community parenting sessions or their children's school lives. She says the NPSC sought to find out why, and
fathers are saying to us, we're not averse to parenting education. We want to be there. We understand we have deficits. We know there are gaps. We want to do better. However, we don't want parenting education sections with women in the same spaces. They bash us too much when we're there. It becomes a belly-aching exercise, and we don't get a space to really share and to say what our own concerns were.
The Parenting Commission boss says some fathers were also concerned about how women view them financially.
So on one hand, you had fathers saying to us that we have money now. And by the way, these were persons who have money based on illicit gains. And so we believe we can go get our pitney, we can go get our child. But on the other hand, the same persons were saying the women are seeing us as an ATM machine. They think we're only here for money. But when you think that the measure of who you are is based on the fact that you now have some money, then it presents a dichotomy for me that you're also saying the women see you as an ATM machine.
Steven Simmons for Nationwide News.